My God, you're looking attractive today. That's impressive. We're gonna break down a double action airbrush today. This happens to be an Iwata, I believe it's an Eclipse. I've got mine rigged up with a quick disconnect, and also I have the extra long hose because having a short airbrush hose is a pain in the butt. We're not gonna look at that, but I'm just saying that's why it's outfitted with this doohickey, that's the quick connect. So we'll get started and we'll shoot this thing top down and fairly close that you can watch what I'm doing in this space. All right, we're gonna start by there, and it's disassembled. No, I'm kidding. Okay, so we're gonna take the back off first. So there's the little needle valve protector right here that you can see the operation working and you can see the travel. That's why there's this window cut in it. Break off this retaining nut for the needle. Carefully pull the needle out without stopping. And the fact that it jammed a few times as I pulled it out just there, it can show you that this thing does need to be cleaned. In dealing with the needle, always clean it by wiping towards the pointy end, because if you happen to bend the end of the needle by pushing something against it, you've ruined the airbrush, or you've ruined the needle anyway. You'll have to buy another one. And it's incredibly sharp, so you really don't want to go this way. You want to be pulling so that you're doing it safely. This retaining nut will come loose. Out. There's a spring. That's the carriage. That little clip right there is what makes this work. So that comes out. And then here is the little end cup in two pieces. I'll have to get that with, yeah. I will take that apart, but that is jammed right now, so that'll take a second. Okay, this little piece right here is just a compression fitting, so it doesn't screw in or anything like that, it just pops out. And the inside of that, coupled with the needle, is the valve assembly that actually drives the whole airbrush. At this point, there's a down spring that's inside this shaft. We're not gonna pull that out. We are simply going to start cleaning. The exterior of this is the actual mating surface. The needle valve, there shouldn't be any paint inside here. There may be. And you can buy a super fine little airbrush bottle brush to clean these guys. I don't have one. I will use this stripped out 22 gauge wire. It's multi-strand wire, and just use that as sort of a whisk on the inside. We're gonna take this part, this, and heck, we can actually do that too. That spring, that guy. I'm gonna put a little bit of airbrush cleaner in on that. And we're gonna wet these parts, but because there are O-rings and whatnot in there, we're not gonna let this sit for more than about 10 to 15 seconds. I can see that the waters, or the airbrush cleaners turned gray. Q-tips are your friend. And that looked fairly clean already, but you can see that there's gunk on the end of my Q-tip, so it's working. And remember, you can always pull cotton off a Q-tip and make the diameter smaller. There are some places where I will not use a cotton swab. Any place where if I got a loose fiber inside of something, like I'm not going to use it on the inside of this thing. The outside though is fair game. So the larger diameter pieces that we can get a Q-tip into, we will take advantage of that. So this guy, a little dunk in some water. Now the most important thing is this needle. I am going to use a little bit of airbrush cleaner on it, but I'm going to do that by squirting it onto a paper towel. And again, we're simply going to pull the valve or the needle through. And once this guy is nice and clean and free of debris, I'm going to set that aside for reassembly. I can use a Q-tip on the inside of this guy I'm gonna hold my finger over the end and put a tiny bit of airbrush cleaner inside here, just a drop or two, and then work the inside of that with a Q-tip. Oh, culprit. Okay, the all-exciting reassembly part. Let's see if I can do this without screwing it up. Okay, this is my needle assembly. This spring goes in here. And this follows it, followed by this little knurled nut. This is just a compression fitting, and it, again, just slides right in here. And we have the retainer for the end of it. So that goes on there. And again, remember to be careful with the end of this thing, because that is the most precise part of the airbrush, and it does need to be protected. One of the reasons why I'm screwing this, this front guard on before I install the needle is the needle's gonna poke out through the end, and I don't want to damage my needle when I do that. All right, so when we install the button, we wanna make sure that the aperture above this pin is oriented so that the needle can go through it. So it needs to be this way, not turned 90 degrees. So we're gonna install that inside that little hole. There it is. You can see the spring pressure right there. And this guy, there's a little tab on the top, and we're gonna take that tab and push it forward, dip this piece down, go in and come up inside that little slot. Once it's in there, then engage the threads at the back, and that should be seated fully. We're gonna loosen up that knurled screw here, the knurled nut, and very carefully feed the needle through the back till it fully seats in front, and then tighten up that knurled nut. Then the little needle valve protector goes on. Cap. Airbrush. You guys are way up there above me now. So anyway, this is my second Iwata airbrush. The first one I bought in probably 1990, and it worked. In fact, I gave it to Anna. It was still functioning, what, 40 years later? No, 30 years later. But again, it's just a matter of keeping it clean, and and don't forget the spring and seating surfaces can be lubricated. It's probably not a bad idea. I never use this stuff, but I should. If you ever have that, if this button ever starts sticking on you, the up and down, you can disassemble that valve. I wouldn't recommend it. It's a pain in the butt, but you can throw a little drop of oil in there and it'll loosen up, so that's no problem. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that, and if you have any questions about this, or if you like another type of airbrush, let me know, because I've only ever used Iwata, and I'm curious to find out if you've compared them or what you think. So let me know from way up there, or I'm down here, but yeah, you get it. Anyway, I'll see you soon.